Hello and welcome to the 161st episode of Scripture in a Year, hosted by Saints Peter and Paul Orthodox Church in the Albanian Archdiocese of the OCA. Today's reading is from the book of Proverbs, chapters 17 through 20. Better is a morsel with enjoyment and peace than a house full of many good things, and unrighteous sacrifices with quarreling. A servant with discernment shall rule over masters without discernment, and will divide portions among brethren. As silver and gold are tested in a furnace, so are chosen hearts before the Lord. An evil man heeds the tongue of the lawless, but a righteous man pays no attention to false lips. He who laughs at the poor provokes the one who made him, and he who rejoices in destruction will not be unpunished, but he who has compassion will be shown mercy. The crown of old men is children of children, and the boasting of children is their fathers. The entire world of goods belongs to the faithful, but to the faithless not even a penny. Faithful lips will not adapt to a man without discernment, nor lying lips to a righteous man. Instruction awards benefits to those using it, and wherever it turns, it prospers them. He who hides wrongdoing seeks love, but he who hates to cover them will separate friends and close relatives. A threat breaks the heart of a man with discernment, but a man without discernment, though flogged, has no perception. Every evil man stirs up controversy, but the Lord will send him a merciless messenger. Care will befall a thoughtful man, but men without discernment devise evil things. He who repays evil for good, evil will not be removed from his house. The foundation of righteousness gives authority to words, but discord and quarreling precede poverty. He who judges the unrighteous as righteous, and the righteous as unrighteous, he is unclean and abominable before God. Why do goods belong to a man without discernment? For a heartless man is unable to gain wisdom. He who makes his own house lofty seeks destruction, and the one who turns away from learning will fall into evils. Let a friend be with you on every occasion, and let brethren be useful in necessities, for they are begotten for this reason. A man without discernment applauds and rejoices over himself, as also the one who gives himself as surety for his friend. He who loves sin rejoices in quarrels, and the hard-hearted man does not assemble with good men. A changeable man will fall into evils with his tongue, and a heart without discernment is grief to the one possessing it. A father does not delight in an uninstructed son, but a son with discernment gladdens his mother. A cheerful heart makes a man healthy, but the bones of a sorrowful man dry him up. The ways of a man who receives gifts unrighteously do not prosper, and the ungodly man shuns the ways of righteousness. The face of a wise man shows understanding, but the eyes of the man without discernment are upon the ends of the earth. A son without discernment is wrath to a father, and grief to her who bore him. It is not good to punish a righteous man, nor is it holy to plot against righteous princes. He who refrains from uttering a harsh word is intelligent, and a long-suffering man has discernment. Wisdom shall be imputed to a man without understanding who asks for wisdom, and anyone who holds his peace will seem to have discernment. A man seeks pretext when he wishes to separate from his friends, but he shall be reproached at every opportunity. A man lacking understanding has no need of wisdom, for he is rather led by lack of discernment. When an ungodly man comes into the depth of evil things, he acts contemptuously, but dishonor and reproach come upon him. A word in the heart of a man is deep water, and a river and a fountain of life spring up from it. It is not good to admire the person of the ungodly, nor is it holy to pervert righteousness and judgment. The lips of a man without discernment lead him into evil things, and his rash mouth calls upon death. The mouth of a man without discernment is destruction to him, and his lips are the snare of his soul. Fear destroys slothful men, and the souls of cowardly men shall hunger. He who does not heal himself by his works, he is the brother of him who maltreats himself. The name of the Lord is of great strength, and when the righteous run to it, they are exalted. The substance of a rich man is a strong city, and its glory casts a great shadow. Before its destruction, the heart of a man exalts itself, and before its glory it humbles itself. He who replies to a word before he hears it lacks discernment, and this is a reproach to him. A servant with discernment calms the anger of a man, but who can support a discouraged man? A heart of discernment gains perception, and the ears of the wise seek understanding. The gift of a man enlarges him and seats him beside princes. When a prosecutor speaks first, he seems righteous, but when the defendant examines his case, he is reproved. An allotment of land ends controversies, and it determines the boundary between princes. A brother aided by his brother is like a strong and fortified city, and he is strong like a well-founded palace. From the fruits of his mouth a man fills his stomach, and from the fruits of his lips he will fill himself to the full. Life and death are in the hand of a tongue, and those who rule over it will eat the fruits thereof. He who finds a good wife finds benefits and receives cheerfulness from God. He who casts out a good wife casts out good things, and he who keeps adulteresses is without discernment and is ungodly. A man's lack of discernment maltreats his ways, and in his heart he blames God. Wealth adds many friends, but the poor man is even forsaken by an existing friend. A false witness shall not be unpunished, and he who accuses unrighteously shall not escape. Many men serve in the presence of kings, but every evil man becomes a reproach to another man. Every man who hates his poor brother, he shall be far from friendship. Good understanding will draw near those who know it, and a man with discernment will find it. He who does many evil things perfects wickedness, and he who provokes with words, he shall not be saved. He who gains discernment loves himself, and he who guards discernment will find good things. A false witness shall not be unpunished, and he who kindles evil will perish by it. Luxury is not profitable for a man without discernment, and it is not good if a servant begins to rule with arrogance. A merciful man is long-suffering, and his boast goes against the lawless. The anger of a king is like the roar of a lion, but as dew upon the grass, thus is his grace. A son without discernment is a disgrace to his father, and vows paid from the wage of a prostitute are not pure. Fathers divide the house and property to their children, but a wife is suited to her husband by God. Cowardice possesses a weak man, and the soul of the idle man will be hungry. He who guards the commandment keeps his soul, but he who despises his ways shall perish. The one who has mercy on the poor lends to God, and he will repay him according to his gift. Instruct your son, for thus he shall be hopeful. But do not lift up your soul in arrogance. A malicious man shall be punished severely, and if he commits injury, he will also add this to his soul. Hear, my son, the instruction of your father, that you may become wise in your last days. There are many thoughts in the heart of man, but the counsel of the Lord abides forever. Mercy is fruit to a man, and a poor righteous man is better than a rich liar. The fear of the Lord is unto life for a man, and he shall lodge without fear in places where knowledge is not examined. A man who hides his hands in his bosom unrighteously, he will not even bring them up to his mouth. When a pestilent man is punished, a man without discernment becomes more astute. But if you reprove a discerning man, he will understand perception. He who dishonors his father and pushes away his mother, he will be shamed and reproached. A son who forsakes guarding his father's instruction, he will think about evil sayings. He who becomes surety for an undiscerning child despises the ordinance, and the mouth of the ungodly swallows judgment. Lashes are prepared for the intemperate, and punishments for the shoulders of those without discernment. Wine is an intemperate thing, and strong drink is full of violence, and all who commingle with it will not be wise. The threat of a king does not differ from the anger of a lion, and he who provokes him sins against his own soul. It is glory for a man to turn away from reproaches, but every man without discernment is entangled with such things. A lazy man who is reproached feels no shame. Likewise also is he who borrows bread in harvest. Counsel is deep water in the heart of a man, and a man with discernment will draw it out. Man is important, and a man who shows mercy is noble, but it is difficult to find a faithful man. He who lives blamelessly in righteousness, he will leave blessed children behind him. When a righteous king sits upon the throne, no evil thing can oppose his presence. Who will boast about having a pure heart, or who will declare boldly being clean from sins? The lamp of him who reviles his father or mother shall be put out, and the pupils of his eyes shall see darkness. A portion gained hastily in the beginning will not be blessed at the end. Do not say, I will avenge myself on the enemy, but wait on the Lord, that you may be helped. A weight, great and small, and a double standard, both are also unclean before the Lord. And the one who uses these things in his pursuits will be entangled, but a young man with holiness, his road is straight. The ear hears and the eye sees, both are also works of the Lord. Do not love to speak ill, that you may not be taken away. Open your eyes, and you will be filled with bread. A double standard is an abomination to the Lord, and a deceitful scale is not good before him. Steps are made straight for a man by the Lord, but how can a mortal man understand his ways? It is a snare for a man to quickly sanctify something of his own things as holy. Then, after making this vow, to come to a change of heart. A wise king is a winnower of the ungodly, and he casts them upon the wheel of torture. The breath of a man is the light of the Lord, who searches the inner man. Mercy and truth are a guard for the king, and they will encircle his throne with righteousness. Wisdom is an ornament to young men, and the glory of old men is their gray hair. Bruises and fractures happen to evil men, and plagues shall come into their inner man. Here ends the reading for today.